Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, May 27th, and we are on the Asian account. I don't need to get both things done, but it'd be fine if I did. I need to play 13 more Warlock cards and get one more victory. We've made it to rank 20 on standard play, and once you get to rank 20 you really have to start playing Hearthstone because you can lose stars. But even at that, it's still quite a frustrating experience just to get up to rank 20 in a month and then fall right back below rank 20. Here we are halfway through the month and I just reached rank 20. I'm at rank 25 on wild play, so that's not gonna go anywhere. To be fair, I am playing 1/3 of all my gameplay on the Asian account and 1/3 of all my gameplay on the European account and 1/3 of all my gameplay on the Americas account, but that hardly means that I would be at rank 10 or something if I only played on my Americas account. We got a decent amount of news, and I didn't get to a lot of it, so let's try to speed up. PC Gamer has a article, Call of Duty Black Ops campaigns could come back. Black Ops won't have a single player campaign, but that doesn't mean that they're going away forever. I mean, honestly, this is a non-article from the word go. Like, no video game company would ever say that we're nobody's ever going to say we're never doing single player again. They'll just say, well, this year we're not having single player, and then next year we're not having single player, and then next year we're not having single player. I think particularly for Call of Duty and similar first-person shooter, the big first-person shooters that are games that only are very potentially the only game that a certain audience will buy in a year. You don't need a story mode every time. You can go 1 or 2 years in those annual releases and then refresh your audience as it starts to lose interest. The thing here about Call of Duty is it's going to have conventional multiplayer, zombies, and Blackout, the new Call of Duty based Battle Royale mode. But I believe the zombies mode is actually further broken down, I believe I heard, into 3 different zombie campaigns. But I mean, you know what's going on. I mean, everybody knows what's going on as far as Call of Duty. Just most people, 20% is what they keep telling us. Only 20% of players or thereabout ever touched a single player campaigns on those games, and I'm not really the one to judge a game like Call of Duty because I don't have any interest in playing Call of Duty in the first place. If it had single players in some of the original versions, I'm still not rushing to buy Call of Duty 1 and play the single player experience and criticize that for whatever it is or isn't, because I know that's not the main focus, and that it never will be. Just keep attacking, I guess. So, as far as I care, Call of Duty can do whatever they want. So, I'm gonna talk about what I'm calling the loot-pocalypse, which I guess isn't much of a loot-pocalypse now because Steam already has backed down, and I imagine Steam will not actually knock off any of the major loot games on Steam. Now, that's not to say that they won't get rid of some. It's very possible I could see it happen that they got rid of some very badly animated visual novels that are actually just like barely extremely poor quality games. I could see them getting rid of them, and that they happen to try to sell on sex, therefore they have that tie-in. I could certainly see those go. I could even see one of Steam's big sellers, which is called House Party, getting kicked off. But when you're talking things like Honey Pop, when you're talking things like Mutiny, which again is on sale for 99 cents right now, went from $20 to 99 cents, which I should talk about that. That is a very strange way to react, but I guess it's the right way to react. If somebody's telling you that you're going to lose all sales in the future whatsoever, put it on sale for as cheap as possible while you can still make some profit and try to get as many sales as possible. That is, I guess, the right thing. If you're going out of business, do a going out of business sale. But sadly, they didn't. More companies didn't go down that route. Honey Pop didn't go on discount. Well, nothing else did, as far as I can tell. But in the middle of that setup, which I'm taking too long to do the setup, a game called Leisure Suit Larry: Wet Dreams Won't Dry has appeared briefly on Steam, and it wasn't but a couple of months ago that there was a decent Humble Bundle or sale on Steam. I'm not sure. I think it was a Humble Bundle, but I'm not 100% certain. That sold all the Leisure Suit Larry old games. There is a newer one that was put on Steam, and it was very bad quality, and then it was taken off Steam by the producers. So this Leisure Suit Larry game is a clever take on D4 Dark Dreams Don't Die, I guess. It was $30. It could be that somebody didn't have the license to it, but it could also be that this was just a simple clicking the wrong button. So we may see it had a release date of October 24th, so keep an eye out, I guess, for October 24th. Weirdly though, that doesn't seem like that's how you would release things. Like, if you're gonna put it on Steam and make a page and announce it, you would want to leave it open. Yeah, the most recent Leisure Suit Larry that was bad was a remake of the original game. It was released in 2013. And that was Leisure Suit Larry Reloaded. Which I don't know specifically why it was a Kickstarter game. Let's look at it right now. Right now it's rated mostly positive, 79% of 243 reviews, so they probably fixed the bugs in it. And it's out. But I don't think you can purchase it. So, is it potentially a remake of the Yeah, the purchase button is missing, so it's not available for purchase. I don't know why it's rated so well, and you can't buy it. This is a game I potentially would have to look on, like, Humble Store. Maybe there's a key I can get out there to own this game. Because I would like to own it, just for historical purposes. It's a shame you can't gift games you actually own on Steam to other people. Games you've purchased for yourself and shifted. And just are tired of playing. But yeah. Leisure Suit Larry in the Land of the Lounge Lizards Reloaded is rated mostly positive, but it is also completely unavailable for purchase, as I thought. So if there's a new game, that certainly is going to add some confusion and weirdness to that. Have to investigate that further. We'll see if it comes out or if it doesn't. I feel like the Leisure Suit Larry is a series that in general should always have something coming out. Kind of in the same way that there should have been a Diddy Kong racing game and a Conkers game that always came out, and the Crash Bandicoot game. There's several mascot characters, and I mean, it's weird to call the Leisure Suit Larry a mascot character, but he kind of is. There's several games like that that they should have not stopped development. And we had it with like Sly Cooper too, where several came out and then they stopped for a while and then they come back. So it's very cyclical. Gamasutra has an article that says what makes a great idle animation. Devs share their favorites. So it's developers talking about their favorite animations when you take your hands off the controller and just see what the characters decide to do by themselves. They're basically the equivalent to screensavers for old monitors. I'm not going to read that article while streaming, but I will read it later for my own personal interest. We've got a game called Jack the Barbarian on Steam. You may have noticed we haven't talked about too many games so far on this stream, and there's definitely a reason for that. Jack the Barbarian looks like a tile-based RPG. I don't want to say inherently an RPG Maker game, but it is an RPG game, certainly. There we go, and just like that, I am done with all the daily quests on the Asian account. Let's move over to the European account, and we're approaching halfway point to having enough gold to open 50 packs in the next expansion. I hope the next expansion, whenever that is a little bit more interesting. So I actually do want to buy 50 packs of the new expansion. Jack the Barbarian is the second game from this developer. It's 25% off for $2.24. And I'm feeling kind of generous on this one. It doesn't look horrible. It does have its own in-user license agreement, which I don't see the reason for that or why people do that. Let's get rid of this. So win a game with a paladin or priest. This will come back. So we need to play 100 class cards, win one game with a paladin or priest, and play a bunch of murlocs. So do we have a murloc paladin as a deck? Yes. Let's play ranked and try to get to rank 20 on our European account too, for whatever little that is. Are there any reviews on this game? There are 3 positive reviews for this. this.
Uther versus Jaina.
Well, to be fair,
You asked for it.
I'm not going to wishlist this
fight
because
with
it
honor.
does seem like it is just kind of a simplistic RPG. And it still very much could be an RPG Maker game just done with a little bit of polish and a little bit better of a job. It looks a lot like Stardew Valley as another comparison. It looks kind of like an NES game. If this was a bigger company making an RPG, and if I had any interest in RPGs, I would wishlist it. This looks like it's a good game, it's just not a game for me. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And close that tab. We already talked about Resident Evil coming to the Switch. We didn't talk about the experimental pricing that's coming with it. The cloud version won't be a straightforward purchase, apparently. Capcom is trialing a new business that will require Switch users to buy a play ticket for around $18. The ticket will grant access for the title for 180 days, so you don't own the game at all. Like, you are renting the game for $18 versus which is $1 every 10 days. I don't see how you're making any more money by doing this. Like, what in the world is the logic behind building a $18 fee to rent it for 180 days, which is 6 months, roughly, which in 6 months you'd almost certainly have already played all of Resident Evil 7. And there's no online play on Resident Evil 7, so you're not accomplishing, like, you're not upselling that game for another $18 later. And even if you did sell it for an entire year of ownership, you'd still only be paying $32, which is still half the price. You'd have to rent this game for 2 years straight. This is an insane experimental pricing. Really, really insane. They should have started 6 months for 36 days. Then it might have made some sense. But really, it should have been 6 months for $60, and then that would have been more in line with what I would expect somebody to do, is raise the price in a confusing way so that people don't realize that they're getting ripped off. Or you would sell it for like 6 months for $50. Yeah, I have no idea what they're thinking on that. PC Gamer has an article, Paradox, quote, "There's room for improvement on how we present our DLC in order to prevent inundating players with expansions and add-ons," is the subtitle. So that is Paradox, the makers of Crusader Kings 2, in an interview saying, look, we're giving our DLC, we're presenting it poorly, and we're making a confusing product to sell, is the general of what I'm taking from that. I just closed the article because I don't care enough. Let's kill this. Hit this. Here. Attack here. Next game we have on Steam is called Paws and Claws VR. Interesting name, certainly, but it is yet again a instance where you're standing in one spot and you're kind of playing tower defense on this. You're not these tiny little kittens are coming towards you with life bars, and you're playing as this dog with some kind of weapons that is shooting them. They're like real guns, it looks like. You need to play more Murlocs, so we'll keep playing. Let's see, this VR game is $14.99 with no discount, and it has no reviews. I will say Paws and Claws VR is animated slightly well, but they're probably just assets because the simple animations of like how the legs are bent and such are not even correct in the screenshots.
Shall bring victory.
I will fight with honor.
I don't particularly like the idea of doing a tower defense game where you're playing as a dog who is literally shooting cats. There's just something there that seems like it's a little too much animal cruelty and not enough Looney Tunes. And this is a game from a developer who hasn't made anything else. When you get to Tom and Jerry with the cat chasing the mouse, it only works as an idea because the cat actually never catches the mouse, or if he does catch the mouse, he doesn't actually know what to do as far as any violence to him, or the mouse tricks him and escapes. The last thing, if Tom came out with an Uzi and just started shooting Jerry, it stops being funny and it starts being just some weird thing, like weird animal cruelty promotion material. And see, they're trying to do it in this game cartoony, but it's not there. It's a delicate line to dance, certainly. Next game we have on Steam is called Don't Die. Let's see, it looks like it's all black and white, one screen, pixel graphics, arcade-ish game. Let's see. It's probably a fake game, if I was to guess.
I wonder.
Early access, 15% off for $2.54. That seems like an excessive amount of money for what it looks like. The main reason why I think it's a fake game is because this developer's only other game, and the developer is just what looks like a long Russian name. But their only other game is called Bang Bang Totally Accurate Redneck Simulator. So yeah, these look like very low quality games. Again, I'm trying to get away from using the phrase fake games because I don't feel like it is as helpful of a descriptor as extremely low quality games. I still have that list of developers making extremely low quality games, and I was going to tweet that out to Steam, but in the aftermath of Steam actually trying to get rid of the lewd games that I actually like being on Steam, like Honey Pop, I don't think I want to encourage them to take any actions whatsoever, because I think any encouragement they get, they will hear whatever they want to hear, and they will use it to apply to something that I never meant it to be applied to. I guess perhaps I've learned and very possibly relearned that I should never be the voice of censorship, and maybe it is better for all things to not really flag too many things. Like, I'll still flag extremely mean trolls on my chat, but like, I'm not gonna go out of my way to tell storefronts, it's like, don't sell this because it's garbage. Like, somebody might like these fake, extremely low quality games. I don't think anybody does, but you know what? Nobody's seeing them on Steam anyways because of the new Discovery update. Then that has worked extremely well. It's only really just me and Jim Sterling that are looking at every single game that are coming out, and even Jim Sterling is having trouble finding fake games and low quality games. There's an article on PC Gamer called "The Art of Making Effective Game Trailers." That's another slightly interesting but not really relevant articles that I'll look at later. Let's see. We have a game on Steam called Strangers of the Power 2, which is an indie RPG, casual RPG maker, single player game, only in English. It's always weird to have a game that clearly is anime inspired and then it's only in English. Yeah. And you're really cutting off your potential financial source really low, because most anime looking RPGs are going to be bought by Japanese people. This is an RPG maker game, but it looks better than most. And see, this is my inherent fear, is that RPG Maker has just introduced so many features and improved itself that I can't even use it as a good metric to say, oh, the low quality and low effort games are all made via RPG Maker, because now people who do even a moderate amount of work actually do make them look good. There is still very much, though, in this game a split between the characters when they come very close to the screen and are animated one way and they talk to you, versus the tiny little 8x8 or 16x16 pixel chibi characters that you see for the most of the time during gameplay. And inherently that means for the most of the game you're looking at these uninteresting visual chibi mini characters. Even in the fight sequence you're looking at the small characters. But the screenshots, the vast majority of the screenshots are the conversation pieces, which they've adjusted the conversation bars to not overlap the characters. You could get Strangers of the Power 1 and 2 for 22% off for $5.41, or you can get just 2 for 15% off for $3.39. So it doesn't feel like he's asking too much. They should have silenced this guy.
The battle.
But for me personally, I don't think there's any reason why I'd want to play this. There's so many other games like Skyborn that was an RPG maker that people said was really good, and I couldn't even get through that. This developer has made a few games, I imagine are RPG Maker games, all of them, and 3 are positive and 2 are mixed. So he's trying, certainly. That they certainly are trying to do quality work within their limitations of not actually being able to make games in Unreal or Unity.
Reporting for duty.
Let's see. This.
The battle.
And that. Next game we have on Steam is called Next Day Survival. It's mixed rated, 58% of 117 user reviews in the last 30 days. It's a survival open world multiplayer game in the post-apocalyptic universe. It's got a lot of trailers. It says it has single player too, but I doubt there's too much of that. It actually doesn't look that bad, so I want to go see why people only are mixed on it. When you take into consideration that almost all games on Steam are given higher ratings than they probably should be, and that's true for video games in general. 15% off for $8.49. Let's look at the negative reviews, of which there's 2,064. Let's see. Early access review says the game is garbage with millions of super man-bear pigs running around who will take 100,000 rubles worth of bullets to even dent their health. Avoid this garbage. I tried to like this. I really did, however. The devs decided to add bosses in a first-person shooter where your weapon damage doesn't scale. So basically, you and your friends will spend the entire evening wasting time just trying to get back to your body.
Justice. Quickly.
The battle.
Next, not recommended. The absolute do not buy. Do tutorial quest, including going to kill a wolf. Kill wolf. Level 52 guy kills me. Great. Now I have nothing and can't even continue the tutorial because it says I'm not in the right faction to talk to the next character. Next, not recommended says bad graphics and lag in most in single player mode. I wasted my money here. Like, that guy could have gotten a refund. Here's a guy that has 46 hours on it saying not recommended.
Let me think. Your magic shall not save you.
Draw one card. That didn't even work.
For justice.
I needed to have played this. This review is really long. Is there too long? Didn't read here. At the end of this very long review, at its current state, I can recommend the game for the now reduced price of $10. However, it is my opinion that the title will be abandoned due to lack of public relations and marketing strategy in the not too distant future. Okay, so problems. It's a pretty looking game. Next day survival, which is something, I guess. It is the only game from this developer, and it's the only game from this publisher. Seems like this is one of those kick-started games that they really tried and yet they couldn't succeed.
Reporting for duty.
Which is most Kickstarter games. So I'm gonna move on. Next game we have is called Slipstream, an arcade-styled racing game inspired by the spirit of the 90s with drifting mechanics and exotic tracks. This is very much, I believe the game is called Outrun, with drifting. As somebody who somewhat recently played Outrun, I felt like that game was a little difficult to get into, where this is more of a drifting idea with maybe some story even in it. I like the look of this game. I feel like this is a good homage, and it seems like you're getting race ranks where in Outrun you just kept on going forward and forward.
Reporting for duty.
For justice.
So inherently it seems like you're going to just do races and win the races instead of constantly go forward. Which maybe there's a constant go forward mode. It says it has arcade mode, quick race and Grand Prix mode, 5 car modes, let's see, how many levels are there? 20 different tracks, not bad. Let's see, is there any negative reviews? One negative review. What's the one negative review versus the 23 positive? It's not my language. It's in German. Let's see if I can roughly translate this. I don't know why it's not recommended. Best as I can translate this, it seems like
Let the hunt begin. I will fight with honor.
it's saying good things about it, comparing it to Outrun. The only thing I could say is Slipstream is 10% off for $8.99. This feels more closer to a $5 game at most, because it is arcadey, and thus its visual appeal is only visually appealing in the fact that it is nostalgia building, and if people haven't played Outrun before, they probably aren't going to care one bit about Slipstream.
None will survive.
But I'm definitely going to wishlist this just for the variety of games. Now, what's interesting is when I just clicked the developer's name, it didn't even list him as the developer, so
Move quickly.
now it does. So that must have been just a glitch. Yeah, Slipstream. I'd say check it out. Another good game. We've gotten 2 or 3 today. Next game we have on Steam is called Retro Maze. It too has the retro tag. The only thing here I can say that even looks good is it's like this weird maze game with stranger borders, and the borders don't seem to be related to the maze at all. So, and there's only 30 levels of mazes. It has 233 achievements, so we know it's an achievement game. 15 positive reviews. I don't know if I'd ever really want a maze game. Something where you're just this dot working your way through a maze. That feels very much like something you would have as a mini game, and honestly, getting to really complicated mazes doesn't add anything. It just wastes the player's time. This is the first game from this developer. It's, what is that, 13% off for 86 cents. I really just cannot justify ever wanting to buy a game like this and play a game that is just mazes, when there are other puzzle games on Steam that, like Hexels, Mini Metro, Hook, or some of the other games being recommended as similar type games. So just going to an exact basic thing to make an achievement game is not what I want.
Job done.
So I'm gonna close Retro Maze. I don't think anybody's really gonna want to play that. Gamasutra has an article: mixing beat 'em up brawler with bullet hell shooter in a single game. This is, I believe, basically a blog from the creator of the game Son of a Witch, which then they are talking about the game Son of a Witch, which, okay, I guess that's fair enough. Son of a Witch it was the game that was a lot. It looked a lot like Castle Crashers. Castle Crashers has been out for quite a while. So Son of a Witch was positive 87% of 49 users. Let's see, discover Murloc. And play this. And the attack. I think I already wishlisted this game, but I'll double check. It is 25% off for $14.99, which is quite a lot. Like, they are definitely pricing this small indie game. I think Castle Crashers in comparison, still the better game to play first. And I don't think Castle Crashers was even $10 when it first came out. It was one of the, I believe, Xbox Live Arcade games. Summer Arcade for 1 year. But I'll wishlist Son of a Witch and see him. I can't really complain that somebody's writing an article about how they develop their own game in an effort to promote their own game. That seems fair enough, and it's actually a decent idea, frankly, because then that puts the video game industry in a different position where they're giving out more information to sell a game versus hiding information and tricking people to buy games. Moving on, Gametsu has an article. Sword Art Online VR Lovely Honey Days has been announced for smartphones. Now, the graphics do not look good at all, quite frankly. This is another one of these VR-esque games where you're living with, dating some anime girl. This is Sword Art Online, so it is the main girl in Sword Art Online from the first couple seasons. And frankly, this is another arguable misuse of Asuna. That's her name. Asuna, it was a strong-willed, sort of developed character in the first season or so, and then she got really reduced to nothing but a damsel in distress and the perfect wife. And she kind of went from the perfect wife to a damsel in distress, and she was in a better position to have just been a fictional perfect wife character. And they really didn't do anything with her as the Sword Art Online series went on, and they decided to make it much more about developing a harem for Kirito, I think is the male character's name. So then there's it turned Sword Art Online into this harem show where he really was loyal to Asuna, which, I mean, she is effectively his wife, and at some point is actually his wife, while still having several other girls who are friends, but friends around it, which you don't see that. It's like, animes don't do female friends of male protagonists that aren't secretly in love with them, and then I think, for the most part, since the way things are written, everybody is depicted as being secretly in love with the main character. Well, I could play 2000 class cards here, but I might as well just skip over to the Americas account and then come back later. We're at 2,200 gold. Yeah, as far as this Sword Art Online game, the one thing that I think also kind of hurts it, besides the bad graphics, is I just looked through all the gallery things and it doesn't seem like there's going to be any like lewdness to it either, so it's going to be rather boring. Most of the virtual dating VR games, which this one's being called VR, but it is for mobile phones, so it can't be that VR. Most of them usually have some sexual content in it, and this doesn't seem like it's even going to have that. So you're just going to be sitting around talking to people, talking to Asuna, living in a fantasy world even more. Alright, let's wrap up here. We have 2,200, so we're also on the European account, close to the halfway point of having 5,000 gold, which would be 50 packs for the next expansion. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, subscribe, click the notification bell when you subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos because all of that helps. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And you practically have to if you want to get notifications of when I'm streaming. So if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, whatever, Tumblr, there's links down below. If there's some new social media site that I'm unaware of, let me know in the comments and I'll make an account on that too if I can figure out how the new service works. If you want to support me further, and this is my e-begging moment, the Steam Summer Sale is coming up mid-June. You can gift me a game during that. You can direct message me on Twitter, Steam codes if you're buying them on some other site like Humble Bundle for Steam codes, or you can just help me save up money by gifting me gift cards on Steam. That works too. This is the only financing we have right now until we get 1,000 subscribers, which will very possibly never happen with YouTube. Because of the way they keep changing the rules on people. That's it for this recording. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.